friends and new friends. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jamie Shibley, CEO of The Expressory, and we provide strategic engagement services for businesses who want to grow, which I'm guessing is you. So in our videos, I like to share stories and strategies and tactics for those business leaders looking to grow their business through a relationship first approach. And today I want to share some ideas related to a topic that I think we've all struggled with at some point or another, and that is networking. And I know, myself included, it's not always comfortable, right? And quite frankly, there's a lot that's not actually memorable. But I came across some recent ideas from a book that I think that can help us with our approach to networking to build more meaningful relationships off the bat. So let me share. I think we can all agree we've been to events where you meet people and their introduction sounds like they're just sharing all of their accolades and how much of an expert they are, right? And again, it doesn't really resonate. Where do you go from there? So, in this book that I have talked about before, The Art of Gathering, How We Meet and Why It Matters by Priya Parker. Highly recommend it, by the way. But I want to share some takeaways, some ideas that she gave in the book that I think can help us network differently. All right. So I'll start with the story that she shared where she was attending some global events, she and a colleague, and you usually met for dinner beforehand. And then there was the series of let's all get together and brainstorm. And we're talking some high level government officials, people from across the world, representing different organizations. And she said, it all sounded the same. People were battling to show who was the smartest. And so she got this idea that maybe if we met beforehand and we took a different approach to getting to know each other, it would really change how the meeting went, right? What could we get to the meat of things in a better way? And so they gathered people for a dinner and they told everyone that they all had to go around the room and take a turn and they had to introduce themselves, but they had to do it by making a toast to what they believed constituted a good life. Now, think about that. Just if you had to stand up and share what you believe makes a good life, I mean, that's some deep stuff, right? And, she said at first it was a little surface. And then as people got the hang of it and as they really engaged in the stories, it got deep. And people were laughing and crying, and they really felt like they were a community and they understood each other and they belonged. And so she felt like it was a success because the next day they already had um, shared experiences together and they put aside all of the, we'll say ego, this is who I am. And it was immediately, let's collaborate. All right. And so, what do you think would happen if you asked questions from that standpoint at more of a human level when you were networking, right? Because it really changes the course of the conversations that you can have. All right. So let's key point number one here, right? Let's ask different questions to get to a more human level of a relationship up front. Okay. But there was another example that she shared where she went to a networking event and some of the questions were, tell me how your priorities have changed over the years. And what do you think are some moments in your life that have either positively or negatively shaped the direction you've taken? I get it. Like maybe that feels uncomfortable to you because it feels like, well, You're asking people to get real deep when you haven't met, but just imagine it gives people pause like, wow, this person really wants to know me and not just, oh, tell me what you do. How's business? And that gets old, right? So the second tip is to ask questions that open up the opportunity to share stories. Let people share their stories with you. You will find reasons to make that connection. Another example I will give you from my own personal experience. I was attending an event, I think it was 3 days long, and um, it it gets old, right? The whole, okay, what is your business? Tell me more about that. What do you do? Um, I don't know. And I feel like for me personally, maybe it's that introvert side, but it's like I almost dread it. I almost dread answering it again. And so I will never forget sitting at this, it was a breakfast table, I believe, and um, there were already a group of us, and a man approached and he sat down and he said, all right, I'm over it. I'm not going to ask you about your business this time. I think we've all answered that a million times, but I am going to ask you, are you dog people? And we lit up because a group of us were. Yes, we are dog people. And he said, all right, so any good dog owner knows their dog doesn't have just one name, they have a million nicknames. Let's hear them. And the conversation just spiraled so naturally. And the laughing. And I kid you not, it eventually moved into business so seamlessly. And it felt right and comfortable. And to this day, we're still connected online, and the group of us still refer each other or make introductions. Okay. So tip number three, make that small talk more enjoyable. Find ways to spark that humor to find your shared connections. So, to summarize the three tips here, because I really want you to be able to leave this conversation and put this into practice in your own, at your own events or your own networking opportunities, because I think you're going to find you you create more momentum in those relationships from the get-go. There's a lot more trust and connection. So first of all, ask questions that are looking to connect at more of a human level. What's really at their core? Who are they? Right? Ask questions that spark stories. Let people share their background in in a fun way, right? And finally, that fun. Make the small talk more enjoyable. So I invite you, maybe sit down and brainstorm some questions now so that the next time you attend those events, you have these and they can flow, right? You can open up much more meaningful connections this way. So thank you for listening. I hope this sparks some ideas. I am always happy to help and ideate. So you know how to reach me, and I look forward to hearing some positive stories from your experience with that.